Let's crown the box. Or kind of. So my piece of going to be crown molding is put together for the most part. The bead detail was in the last video. The lower bead detail will be installed once this is in place on the box. But here is the profile. This is the part that fastens to the top of the box. This is the shoulder here, whatever this, that allows me to push it up against the box, and this notch, kind of L shape here, keeps it square with the box. I'm not making a lot of sense, but that's basically what I have in mind. So I need to now cut the miters, first, second, third, fourth miters for the crown molding. And as you know, most of you are aware of, I'm sure, of the crown molding technique of upside down and backwards, if you just have a piece of crown, which I'm intimately aware of because I hung crown molding in every single room in this house. So that, I'll show you what I mean. So if you're cutting crown on the miter saw, you can buy, I've got some jigs for doing that. We can get all kinds of different jigs for doing crown molding on the miter saw, which basically does the hard part for you. But when you do it, the part that goes against the ceiling is down. The part against the wall goes against the fence. And let's bring the camera down. See, I've got my jigs in place here, so it's kind of getting in the way. But let me bring the camera down and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So again, this is the ceiling of the room. This is the wall of the room. This is your crown molding. So the part that's going against the ceiling goes down, and the part that goes against the wall goes against the fence, and then you do your miter cuts. And it gets flipped over and put up on the wall. But the way I do crown molding for furniture is a little different. These are parts of kind of a jig system. And I cut the crown molding as if it's going to, the way it would be mounted on the furniture piece. So let me bring it over and show what I mean. I take my crown. Now this is this 1/4 inch piece is a step to get in here. And the blocks are kind of hold it in place like that. Now I can make my straight miter cuts. I don't have to do anything else. Just go right and left, hold it tight against the fence, go right and left. Oops, there you go. And make my miter cuts to put it on the box. And it's basically, it's 2 miter cuts on this and 1 miter cut for each of the side pieces. Now let me do 1 miter cut, and then I'll go through doing all the rest of the miter cuts, and then we'll do the installation. You see, when I drop the workpiece in, just like that, the block stops it where it needs to be. It's in the correct angle. The bottom here, this back piece that's going to be fastened to the box is flat. It's flat, perpendicular, or flat to the fence, so it can be mounted directly up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 miter cut. And this is going to be the miter cut on the right side of the box. So let's do that miter cut. I'll chop that off at the end wider, longer than it really needs to be, so I can sneak up on the other side. But I'll do this, and so you can see how I do the cut. And then I'll cut them all out, partially fit them, make sure they fit, and then we'll fasten them. One thing I must impress upon you when you're doing it like this: move the blade through the workpiece very slowly. Just let the blade take away the wood. Don't put any force on it. Just gently bring it down. You see what I mean when I make my first cut. Yay! Huh. So what you see, what I've got here is the back block that screws it down to the oops, get it up the screen. The back block that screws it to the box is also at the 45-degree miter, so it all fits together kind of neatly, hopefully correctly. Now I need to go mark this and finish the cut for the other side, get it fit to the box, and we'll come back. Got them cut out. Tip. So when you're dealing with a piece of wood, you know, a buildup like this, get your intersection point correct. It's not back here and it's not up here. Your intersection point for your miter is here, right there in this particular piece, because that's where it meets this corner. So when you look at it like this, that's where it meets the corner. So that's your intersect point. So all your cuts have to pivot around that point. Yeah, finicky, I know. And then this is the, there's the side piece. It's there. Can't see this side because it's in the way. But there's the side piece. So these are all cut out. We can fasten them up now. And carefully glue, and I have these hooks that I can use to hold these corners together correctly here. Get the clamps out of here. Move the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. So, yeah, I know, I really do this with camera. So anyway, this and this, like so. But you know, once you get this all lined up at your intersection point, you want to get it lined up here. All this lines up, and I've got these clampy things that, spring clamps that'll hold those corners together while the glue is drying. But the first thing you do is I'm going to do is put up the front piece. That's going to go on first. Once that's aligned, that gives me the intersection points where I absolutely need them to put the side pieces up, and there'll be a little bit of manipulation. Now, to allow for that manipulation, I'm going to pin these in place first, because you can manipulate something that's pinned. And once everything's in place and glued up and tight, then I'll drive screws in from the top. You know, it pays to turn the sound on before you start recording. So what I've got here is I put the first piece up, the front, and it's pinned in place with 2 pins, one on either side. So it gives me the flexibility to do what I'm doing right now, is to trial fit the side piece. And this is the spring clamp, more on that later, set that I got for doing corners, and it allows me to hold the corners together tightly so before the glue sets, while the glue is setting, and I can manipulate the pieces of wood by hand with those springs in place to actually get it correctly lined up. Now I put up the side piece and just trial fitting it to make sure it's as I want, and I pin it. And now I take the spring clamp. Yep, it fell down. Take the spring clamp, put that in place so that it's holding that mitered corner together nice and tight. Nice and tight. There we go. And now I can move the parts with my fingers to align everything perfectly and let the glue set. And here I've got all three pieces up, and that particular spring clamp had dull pointy ends on it, so I got another one, stick it up there. And again, getting the corners tight together, and then I can manipulate them with my fingers to make sure that everything's lined up as it should be, nice and clean and ready to go. And finish pinning these in place so that they're nice and tight. I did that with the one on the right side too, so they're finished pinned in place. Now I need to wait for this glue to dry, and then I can put the screws in that will hold that piece up permanent. Those pieces up permanently. And this is where, of course, the quarter round is going to go. Here's the piece I cut on the router table for the quarter round. I have to cut that off at like a 1/4 inch deep or so, and I'll make a measurement first. A 1/4 inch deep, and it can go right along where my finger's pointing now, and on either side. And that gives me my completed profile that I've been working for this particular box. So I trimmed the 1/4 inch to the depth that I want. Hard to see in the camera, I know, but there it is. That's the depth I want that's going to surround the lower part of the crown molding. I picked the profile and cut it out for the base profile, Camera, please. There you go. So when I look at these period pieces, for the most part, a lot of them have very pronounced crown molding, and almost just the base molding on it looks like an afterthought. Small, tiny. And that's what this is. It's going to go right along here. But to make these cuts for the 1/4 inch stock, I have to use a teeny itty bitty miter box. Let me show you my teeny itty bitty miter box. This is the teeny itty bitty miter box and the little itty bitty gent saw that I use to cut the miters. So what I want to do is cut one miter first and then mark it off from that miter to the other miter along the piece. In this case, since I'm going to go in that direction, so I'm cutting the miter for the right hand side. Yep, we got to go a little further because it's got a bulge, and I want to get it. Here we go. I just cut it. You know what? I have a better idea. Let me see if this will work better this way. Yeah, it's going to work a lot better with the round over pointing this way instead of that way. And since the saw is a push cut, you want it up against that fence. So let me see if I can do this without blocking the image too much. I know I'm kind of twisted backwards here to do this. Don't push down. Just let the saw do the work. Oops. Oops, going the wrong way. Dummy. Frickin' dummy. Yep, going the wrong way. So I got a lot of this, so it doesn't really matter. Let me get that back in where it needs to be. Oh, it did cut all the way through. So there's the miter. Can you see it? And that's going to be on the right or left side, either one. So what I need to do is go up to the thing, put this in place, and mark the next cut. So I want to get this to where I want it here at this end. Hiding the camera, I know. So I can feel where my intersect point is for the miter. And I come back here and I just mark the back. And just to make sure I'm going in the right direction, I'm going to mark the angle of the 45 degree on the face. So when I make the cut, it's cutting the right way. But I also want to bring that line to the top, and that's where I need to make the cut, which is going to be right there. Clean that off. Now let's make sure that this is correct. So I can feel with my fingers and do an eyeball on it that the intersect points where the miter joins together here are at the edge of the outside boards. So that's the way I want it. Now, to fasten this, it's a little bit of glue, and I'm going to pin it from underneath. So I pin it from underneath, like so, just a couple of pins to hold it in place, and the glue will do the rest of it. So let me go get my glue, and we'll put this one piece up now. And then I can come back. I'll do the rest off camera. Got to get it up in the tube, kind of, because it's a squeezy tube. Get the glue. There we go. And just right across there. So I can get, okay. Now I've got, that's at the intersect point. That's at the intersect point. Let's put a pin here, a pin here, and a pin here. Okay, so that's in place. I have to wipe a little glue off. So now I have to do the returns, and I'll do the returns off camera, and then we'll put on the base molding. And at this point, the box for the most part is done, except for the painting, but the construction of the box is pretty much done. We have achieved crown and base, so it's crowned and based, whatever. So the crown molding is complete. All the segments are in place. Got the port. I've screwed it down from the top with screws. So yeah, they'll hold that on. I mean, the pins certainly weren't going to hold it, but pinning it in place first gives you the option for a little movement, so you may get all your alignments done. Then when it's glued up, you screw it down. And the base molding is in place. I don't know if you can see it, but I showed you the profile in previous previous segment of the video. So now I have, visually now I have 1.25 inch exposure here and 1.5 inch exposure here. So it's 1.5 all the way around. That's why I built it a little taller this way and a little taller down here. So once I get the molding on, you have symmetry. Love symmetry. The bars are still in place for door testing or whatever. So we're going to finish this video here. The next video, we're going to start the milk paint. This is an interesting process. I'm using real milk paint that you can buy online from several vendors. So I'm using real milk paint, and the entire inside is going to be painted except for here and here. That's going to get the finish, and the inside of the doors will not be painted because when you open that door, you're going to see the other side of that beautiful grain. And then after that, make the shelves, which will get painted. I'll probably do that in the next video. Make the shelves, paint those, and the back boards, and paint those. So then they can all be put together at some point. So, until next time, make great things out of wood.